Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
Here's Yo Daddy.
Oh, hey kids. Welcome to the Big Daddy G Show. We have a really cool show for you tonight. We have a couple of really interesting things. At the very end, we're going to show you, at the very end of the show, we're going to show you a conspiracy theory type thing about if we went to the moon or not. And I found this video that I thought was really cool, very informative, and it's up to you guys. You decide what you think. Did we go, did we not go? If we went, great. If we didn't go, where's the money? I want to know where that money is. So, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened a couple of days ago here in the Austin area. We had a huge storm. I personally had a tree that one of the branches, and it's a really strong tree. It's a mama tree. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but anytime there's trees, there's one mama tree, and that mama tree gives nutrients to all the trees around it. Usually up to 10 trees. There's some useless information, but it's not really useless because it's kind of cool. I guess they would fall under, I didn't know that. I think it falls under that. But anyway, we had this huge storm, and with the storm, really strong winds. I'm not sure how powerful the winds were, but they were pretty strong. Knocked over a huge branch at one of my trees. So anyway, right now in Pflugerville, and I know this is going to sound kind of strange because they don't have power, and a lot of people. Yesterday there was 13,000 people that didn't have power in Pflugerville, and so luckily, the people, Austin Electric, and the people that serve Pflugerville also, I'm sure there's other little companies, are trying to get people power back in Pflugerville. So. To all my friends at Red Roosters that are out of power, hang in there. Oh, and by the way, I think I'm going to be there Friday night, so you better be there. Heather, you better be there because I'm bringing you something, Heather. You better bring it. Heather's a bartender at Red Roosters. Really nice. So, yeah, she's beautiful too, but she's married. So, but anyway, I'm still bringing you a gift, Heather. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I'm a very, I know it doesn't look like I am, but I am. I like to recycle stuff. I've told you guys about, how crazy I've gotten about recycling. But what I like to do also is I like to park at like a Capital Metro Park and Ride, which is our bus system here in the Austin area. And the other day, I went to a park and ride called Tech Ridge Park and Ride. So if there's anybody out there that works for Tech Ridge Park and Ride and you have any pull, I'm not sure how much Tech Ridge Park and Ride costs to build, but I know it was in the millions. And it's a beautiful park and ride. But guys, you built this beautiful, I don't know what it's called, but it has 4 clocks at the very top. I guess it's a statue or something like that with clocks at the top. 4 clocks, one on each side. None of the clocks are right. All the clocks are different times. The little stalls where you go and you wait, there's this little LED sign that'll tell you what time the next bus is going to be there or what bus is going to be there. I think only one of them works. Out of probably, I'm going to say 10 bays, maybe one of them works. So if there's anybody out there at Capital Metro, please, send somebody out there with a wrench and some tape and some duct tape and some, and some oil or something. Fix that stuff, man. It costs a lot of money to make or to put it together. So please, go take care of that. A couple of new things. Our friend CJ joined the military, and or the reserves, which is the military, and he just bought a new GoPro camera, dude. And Tyrone showed me a picture. He emailed me a picture of it. CJ, nice, dude, nice. I'm glad to see that you finally realized that you belong behind a camera. And in a little while, you might be in front of the camera, so you better stay tuned. There's a segment that we talked about last week called, I've told you it's in our website, and it's also on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and look it up, and it's called "Make Your Dreams Come True" or something like that. And what it was is there was this director that came and asked me if he could interview me, and it's a really good segment. There's 2 parts, and please, if you get a chance, go watch it. If you're trying to decide, if you don't like your job, if you hate your job and you hate getting up to go to work and you hate doing this, and you need to watch that segment, because it's going to tell you what to do to follow your dreams. So please go and watch those segments. And a couple other things. These are all pretty much local things that we're doing. Hold on, I need some medicine. There you go. Texas is now in the heat. We're the oven now. The way I explain it to people is, here's the sun, here is Texas, and here is Earth. Okay? So, yeah. I believe it hit almost 100 or 102 the other day. I'm not sure how hot it got today, but it got pretty warm today. So make sure that water rationing has already started in Kyle and Buda. So please, if it's going to rain in the next couple of days, there's no sense in watering your yard, okay? Don't be washing your car, and wasting a bunch of water that you don't need to waste. So please, ration your water. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a couple of days ago, also, a kid got abducted here in the Austin area, a 7-year-old boy. Was he grabbed, off the street, walking home from school? No. His parents left him in the vehicle, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the vehicle was running. So they had stopped to go meet a relative or something like that and have a talk with this relative, something quick. Well, somebody was walking by, saw that the car was running, didn't realize that there was a kid in the back asleep, hopped in the car and took off. So, kids, if you can't leave your dogs and your cats in the car, why would you leave your kid? So, please, don't leave your kids in the car, even if the air conditioner is running. This poor lady, somebody hopped in her car and took off. They found the car and the kid later, about an hour or 2 hours later. Austin Police Department, way to go, guys. They found the car and the kid safely. The kid was safe, so that's great. I mean, it ended well, but don't leave your kids in the car, dude. That's ridiculous. Again, this year there's a fan drive here in Austin, and what they do is they collect fans, or they'll collect money, and then they give fans to people that can't afford air conditioning. Yes, there are people in Austin that cannot afford air conditioning. And so please, if you can help, you can Google them. It's called Summer Fan Drive, and they've been around for a long time. I think they started back in 1990, and it's going to run until August 31st, because we get really hot summers here. So I know that in last year they gave out 6,740 fans to more than 3,200 households. Yeah. So that helped 9,002 people including 3,905 Central Texas children. So please, please, if you can help the Summer Fan Drive, please help them out. They need your help. One advice that I wanted to give somebody, I was talking to this young guy the other day, and he said to me that, you know, he's 19 and he knows everything, you know. And I told him, I said, yeah, ask a teenager when they know everything, you know, ask them anything you need to know. And I told him, I said, there's an old saying, I don't know who came up with it or whatever, but it says, if I knew then what I know now, you know, is what I said to him. And basically what I was trying to say was, dude, listen to, you know, older people. 99% of them are going to give you good advice. You know, there's 1% there that are nuts, you know, and you know who you are. You're out there, I know you are. So, you know, listen to your mom and dad, you know, because they're going to try to give you good advice so that, you know, you don't make the same mistakes that they did. So, so that's it. That's all I have for the intro. I've already gone over by a little bit. I'm getting yelled at in my ear here. But all right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We've got a really cool show, so don't leave us. I'm going to take a look. Hold on a second. I've got something else. Okay. One of the things I wanted to tell you about is that we have a guy that does glass work that came into the studio today, and we're going to talk to him. And his name is Dennis Hetland, and he's going to talk to us about his glass work and what he does, why he does it, how he does it. So stay tuned, because it's, you know, it's a pretty interesting thing. It's a pretty interesting. We have some pictures for you of some of his artwork, and dude, you're going to be really impressed. And from what I understand, you can buy some of this stuff, you know, some of his work. And these are one-of-a-kind pieces, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. The other thing I want to tell you is that I went to go see a movie the other day called Blockers. It's at the Discount Theater up in Round Rock, Movies 8 in Round Rock. And I learned something that I thought was pretty interesting. I always went by Rotten Tomatoes, their percentage, you know, because Rotten Tomatoes gave this particular movie an 83. And after I watched the movie, I was like, what? I don't think it should have gotten an 83, because 83 is pretty close to, you know, good, you know, or above good. And it was a good, you know, it was a good movie. It wasn't terrible, but it shouldn't have gotten an 83. But then I found out that that particular studio, or that Universal, I believe, owns Rotten Tomatoes. So if you ever see a movie that's been rated or reviewed by Rotten Tomatoes and was made by Universal, you know, I'd kind of think about that and see if maybe they're, you know, they might be padding it a little, you know, kind of like a resume type thing. So so anyway, I also have a little card that I got from a lady named Grandma Grace, and I wanted to read this card to you guys because it's such an awesome card. And she wrote this to me, and look at this. Oh, I can't show. Oh, yeah, I can show you that because it's just a P.O. box. But there he is, Grandma Grace, and she lives in California, Los Angeles, California. And here's a big United States thank you, United States flag, and in here, look at how much trouble she goes to. Am I doing this right? There we go. Look at how much trouble that she goes to. I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to read you something really cool that I hope you like. She says, "Hey, Big Daddy G, Saturday, April the 7th, was the 4th year." Oh, look, there's a little, hey, CJ, look, it's one of those June bugs. CJ hates June bugs. Okay, Saturday, April 7th was the 4th year mark when a kid from Detroit named CJ got off a bus in Austin and decided to make Texas home. And it all started with your home. She's talking about my home. It's been an incredible journey thus far, and the adventure continues. Thank you so much for putting his shout out on your Facebook. We are forever grateful to you for giving CJ a decent, clean, safe home and a great start. You always gave him good advice, encouragement, and helped him when he needed it. We love you, Big G and Ty. Ha 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 ha. Always, CJ's Grandma Grace. So I thought, how sweet. Look at that. How sweet that she went through all this trouble. And there's a little sticker in here too. And the little sticker says USA. It says USA. So I said, you know what? I'm going to write a little poem for Grandma Grace. And I'm going to read it. And I know I'm probably going to go over, but that's okay. So this is the poem that I wrote for you, Grace. And I hope that you enjoy it. I named it Grace. Let me take a little medicine here. Hold on a second. Thank you, Harding Corona. Harding Corona, Palm Springs Road, Austin, Texas. Okay, it's called Grace. Grace. God said, let there be grace on earth, and so Grandma Grace arrived to show us all how crazy loving each other can be. Remembering that love comes from the heart, not the wallet, is what she teaches each and every day. All that is good comes from the heart of this little woman called Grace. Calling and having a conversation is all that she asks. So put down that controller or that fishing pole or that wrench and pick up the phone and call her and feel her grace. When you hang up the phone, you will know what grace on earth was meant to be. Everything that she has, she would give gladly so that people, even the ones that she has never met, could live in peace. God said, she has been through thick and thin to make everyone feel grand. So from here to eternity, I give you Grandma Grace. We love you, Grandma Grace, wherever you are. That poem was for you. Okay, so that's it, kids. We have a new sponsor. Is this right, Tarun? Okay, yeah, we have a new sponsor called Whatchamacallit. So please stay tuned when we'll be right back.
Thingamabob, gobbledygook, what's its face? Whatchamacallit, whatever it is, whatever it was, chocolatey chocolate. Whatchamacallit, how's it go? Wowzum do, chew gooey caramel. Whatchamacallit, doohickeys, you know what I mean, peanutty crispies. Chewy, chocolatey, crunchy, doodad, skidamaring, more than a mouthful. It's whatchamacallit, whatchamacallit.
It's the truth! Your principal can't smile, can't swim, can't rap, and I can't stand bubble tape. Your school bus driver can't drive, wears curlers, makes funny noises, won't try bubble tape. No way, Jose! Bubble tape, it's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
They said it wasn't humanly possible, but now you can have all the power and excitement of Nintendo right in the palm of your hand. Introducing Game Boy. It's portable, it's in stereo, and its games are interchangeable. Plus, Game Boy comes with the outrageous new game, Tetris. And for head-to-head competition, use the revolutionary Video Link and blow your opponent away. Game Boy, only from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, portable power.
Yikes! Strike! Fruit Stripe gum! It's a yummy, fruity one! Stick a stripe of fun! Just a flying flip-flop! Whoa, whoa, a pick-pop! Yikes! Strike! Fruit Stripe gum! A really wilder! A ton of fun, a miler! A flavor overloader! Wow! Exploder! Yikes! Strike! Fruit Stripe gum! Men from outer space! Punk a pop in your face! Fruity flavors in the pack! Gooey gobble pizza! Yikes! Strike!
Fruit Stripe gum and bubble gum.
Coming to a Hardee's near you, the stars of Hardee's Cinnamon and Raisin Biscuits. And now, when you buy any 2 Rise and Shine biscuits or any dessert, you can get a cool California raisin for only 99 cents. There's 4 in all, a new one each week. Get your California raisins at Hardee's. Another way we're out to win you over.
Hey, Walter, what's up?
great taste and just 1 calorie. Diet Coke is the one soft drink everyone's falling for.
Hi.
Hi. 1 calorie just for the taste of it. Diet Coke.
Breaking news that I'm not drinking enough of this martini. I'm not drinking it fast enough is what they say. So, give me a second. Smooth. Okay, so now we're going to bring in a sculptor. I hope you enjoyed that video, by the way. That particular video won an Oscar in 1950, was it 1958, I believe. It won an Oscar, and I thought that you guys would enjoy it because it has a lot to do with what we're about to talk about now. So, Dennis Hetlin. I got it. Come on in, Dennis. Nice to meet you. Have a seat. All right. So, tell us a little bit about Dennis. Who's Dennis?
Well, I guess I'm the ambassador of glass from the state of Oregon here in Texas to promote glass blowing and glass art in Austin.
Okay. And where in Oregon are you from?
I'm actually from Salem, which is almost a suburb of Portland.
Yeah. Dude, I've been to Salem.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I remember as a kid, my parents took us up there, and there was, in Salem, there was like an old wooden jail. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was probably, well, you know, when you're a kid, everything looks huge, but it was probably about 8 or 10 feet high. So it was like on stilts, if I remember correctly. And that's where they kept prisoners in this particular jail. So that was in Salem. Okay, sorry.
I don't
That's the
recall
only thing
seeing that, but
I wasn't in the jail. You couldn't go in the jail. I wasn't put in the jail, but it was many, many moons ago. From what I understand, that's where they would keep the witches before they burned them.
You know, that's Massachusetts.
Oh, all right. Well, didn't Salem didn't have witches?
They might have some now.
Oh, all right. Well, you know, y'all know I do some drugs. So anyway, okay. So what brought you to Austin?
Well, you know, I blow glass, but I've gone a little bit further than just simply blowing the glass and selling glass, and I really got into making the equipment. Okay. I went out and became an electrician, and I, you know, studied some ceramics a little bit on my own, okay. And then I, you know, just sat down one day, and you know, I had bought a book. Mm-hmm. And I built all my own equipment, had my own studio, and then the furnace I was using, it just, I don't know, it wasn't working for me. It's just something I had to keep rebuilding, and I just sat down and I started drawing, then I started making models, and next thing you know, I'm building my own. Well, I designed my own crucibles, which is the pot that holds the glass, and then I built a furnace around it, and you know, it slices, it dices, but wait, there's more, you know, kind of thing. And I sold one to a young lady in LaGrange. So nice. Yeah, so I drove all the way out here in a one-way Penske truck. Wow. And I was gonna share a studio with this guy in Santa Cruz, and that kind of fell through. So I loaded everything on a trailer and came on out here and figured, you know, I've heard lots of good things about Austin, and it's a new place, and the materials for making the furnace are cheaper here. We don't have that kind of clay in Oregon. Okay. Refractory clay. Okay. Down here in the South, you have alumina oxide in the soil. Well, not in all the soil, but there's plenty of deposits of it. You know.
Nice. So let me ask you a question. I see, you know, that like they put the glass at the end of the tube. I guess what is it called?
A blowpipe.
Blowpipe. Okay. And how do they get that? How do they do you just take like a big old cup of sand and you put it in the heat, or what do you do?
Well, like I said, we have what you call a crucible.
Okay.
And normally it's we throw in there what's called batch, which is the sand. It's quartz sand with fluxes. The glass that, like on that video you saw, that was almost certainly what we call soda lime, which in the fluxes are soda ash and limestone, and that makes the quartz melt at a little bit lower temperature, and you know, the soda ash helps it keep its heat so they can do all those things you saw in that video.
Okay.
And they just, you know, go in, you know, get the pipe nice and hot, and you go into the pot and you kind of swirl it around like you're getting some spaghetti on your fork.
Right.
And then if you saw at the beginning, all the guys had their thumb in their mouth. They pop it out, and they cap it, and you get the air in there. And when the air reaches the top where the glass is, you watch it, because the heat makes the air expand. And so you got your thumb on the back of that. As soon as it gets to just where you want, you let your thumb off.
Okay. But what is a crucible?
A crucible is basically a ceramic pot, and it has a high what we call alumina or aluminum oxide content, and that's what I was mentioning here. There's the clays that you can find in the South, like Kentucky ball clay and other kinds of clay, are high in alumina content.
Okay.
And we just don't have that in Oregon. You know, we have lots of gold there, which is good for making colored glass, but we just don't have, you know, the clays that we have there have a lot of iron in them, and iron's just really bad for that. It won't hold up to the temperature or the chemical reactions of the batch. So you can't really make a crucible out of Oregon clay.
And you don't make pipes?
Absolutely not.
No, you make, you know, like different pieces. Tyrone, can we show one of the a picture of some of his work? Okay. We actually had, I believe, three pictures to show you guys, but one of them
pictures you're going to show.
I'm not sure, but I know that one of them we couldn't show because it was a beautiful piece.
Oh.
But the lady was naked. But it's artwork. I understand it's artwork. But we just didn't want to upset.
That was one of my
people.
favorite pieces.
Show us the first one, Tyrone. And tell me about this one.
Oh, that's just, you know, that's just a bowl. That's like, I make those all the time. You know, that I, you know, to get those colors in there, I pick up a little bit of color, get it really hot, and then just I do a wrap. I do, you know, 2 or 3 different colors, and then, you know, kind of do the back spin on it and get it to, I don't know.
And what is like a piece like this? What does that sell for, or what do you?
You know, I think that one sold. I think I sold it for about $180.
180? Well, it's beautiful, dude. Tyrone, show us the next one.
Oh, that's my furnace.
That's the furnace.
Oh, okay. There's
tell us about this one.
Well, you know, that one's actually, I do these sculptures. They're kind of double helix that and people really love them, especially in June for wedding presents, because they're one of a kind. This one's a little bit of a variation where it's not quite like that, but you know, it's an abstract sculpture.
Okay. Well, it's beautiful, dude.
It's all made from recycled glass, by the way.
Oh,
I recycle,
nice.
you know, yeah, I scavenge it. I was scavenging from another studio up in Portland.
Nice.
And so, yeah, everything I don't melt batch.
Right.
I melt what we call cullet when that's already made glass. And so I'll pick through and get the clear, and then I'll use the colors and, you know, to add later.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about the furnace. Can we show the furnace again, Tyrone?
Yeah, that's my front-loading furnace. And normally, guys that blow in their backyard, like I usually do, will just stick a pot in a ceramics kiln and you know, use it until it wears out, and then rebuild it. And I got sick of that.
Right.
And so here it's a front-loading furnace, meaning that door slides out of the way, and you can access the glass through the gathering port. And then you can see, well, on the photo, you can see 2 of the 3 junction boxes, and I have elements that come down the sides.
Do we have it again?
Yeah, so you can see those 2 boxes on the side. There's a 3rd one straight behind it, and they all join back there in that 3rd one.
Okay.
And so when an element burns out, you just push that sucker out and push a new one in, and bam, it's ready to go again. As opposed to having to totally disassemble your ceramics kiln and replace all the elements.
Wow.
So.
Well, that looks expensive. What does something like that cost?
You know, if you contact me through Facebook, I can give you a quote.
Nice.
I
nice.
better not
Well,
spit out any prices.
I had commissioned a company in France to do some pieces for us. So would you join me over here at the counter?
Sure.
We're just gonna walk over here to the counter. Oh, can't forget my drink.
Yeah.
It's like forgetting a leg or something. Come on back here.
Okay.
First of all, what camera are we on? Over here on 1? Okay, so I want to show this company. It's called Cartier. Can you do a close-up of this? Oh, over here? Okay, Tyrone, you got to stop changing cameras on me. Okay, there we go. Cartier. And these are champagne flutes that they give high rollers in Las Vegas. So when I go and I spend a bunch of money in Vegas, they give me these little flutes. Isn't that awesome? So I use them for New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, if you want to touch that. I use these for New Year's Eve to drink champagne and stuff like that. So, among other things, this here, I'll put that away. And this is another piece. Oh man, did y'all let Tyrone near this? Well, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but that's broken. All right, so I actually commissioned Cartier to do a piece for us. Now, here's the Cartier box that they sent it in. And this is something that I know CJ will like. Well, I gotta open it. There we go. And let me see if I can do this. There's a little piece of broken glass there. So let me open this up and see what we have here. They wrapped it in some neat wrapping paper. It says, we named it Petey Cartier. Can you get a close-up of that? So they named that Petey. They named this piece Petey, and here it is. What do you think? Isn't that beautiful? Does that look familiar?
Is that legal in
to
Texas?
anybody? I believe so. And even if it isn't, who cares? All right. All right. That's all we have. That's all we have for this segment. And CJ, I hope you enjoyed Petey. That's what they called it. CJ, don't get mad at me. That's what they called it. So, all right. So, tell me a little bit about what you believe in about conspiracies. From what I understand, you're glass conspiracy.
I was going to tell you that the word conspiracy is actually an analogy for glass blowing.
Okay.
And so it's technically not a conspiracy unless something gets blown up.
Okay.
The word conspiracy is a well thought out, planned happening or event that is orchestrated by a group of intelligent, talented people to produce something that's blown.
Okay.
The spy ray, conspiracy.
Okay.
The spy ray, it means blow. It means blow or breath or air.
Okay.
And con is like construction or, conference. So that's a group of people.
Okay.
Blowing something.
Well, there's been a lot of conspiracies that have been proven to be true. So this particular little clip that we're going to show you now is about the moon. Now, I'm not saying we went. I'm not saying we didn't go. But if we went, awesome. If we didn't go, where's the money? I want to know where the money is that you guys said we spent. A really good friend of mine that works for NASA said that NASA stands for never a straight answer. So Tyrone, can you roll that clip? We'll be right back. You.
Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another controversial Better Mankind video. I think subconsciously there must be a part of me that enjoys the onslaught of nasty comments when I make videos like this. But the fact remains that there's way more evidence that supports the theory that we never went to the moon than there is to support that we ever did. Now there are many reasons that prove we never went to the moon. To mention a few, you have the wavy flag in a zero atmosphere environment, the lack of any blast crater underneath the lunar module, or how about the absence of stars in space? The problem with any of these arguments is that NASA seems to have an explanation for every single one of them. Therefore, people like me and other moon landing deniers are referred to as a bunch of crazy tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy kooks that need to up their medication. So in this video, I'm only going to address a single discrepancy that NASA themselves have admitted to on more than one occasion, and will prove without a doubt that we have never even left low Earth orbit, let alone landed a man on the moon. But first, let's go back to school and get a refresher course on the different atmospheres surrounding the Earth. Now, the following information is critical to proving my point, so please bear with me. First, we have the troposphere. This is where all of our weather occurs, and it is the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It starts at the Earth's surface and extends up to a height of 4 to 10 miles. Next, we have the stratosphere, which extends to about 35 miles above the Earth's surface. This is where our ozone layer resides and protects us from those dangerous UV rays. It is also the layer where aircraft travels, as it is free from weather disturbances. Now we go up to the mesosphere, where most meteors burn up on entry. The mesosphere stretches up to 50 miles above the Earth's surface. Next we have the thermosphere, and this layer extends up to 400 miles from the Earth's surface, and the air here is very thin. Also, temperatures here start to get really hot, ranging anywhere from 200 to 500 degrees Celsius and 500 to 2000 degrees Celsius in the upper region. And last but not least is the exosphere. The temperature in the exosphere can vary from 0 to 1700 degrees Celsius. The exosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere and is around 6,200 miles from the Earth's surface. Now, according to NASA, low Earth orbit is around 1,200 miles from the Earth's surface. So before I tell you the reasons why it is impossible for us to go beyond the exosphere, or for that matter, even past the thermosphere, have a listen to what some NASA experts have to say about this topic.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Hang on. So what you're saying is that in order to send humans through this region, we need to solve the challenge of getting through the Van Allen radiation belts? But I'm confused. Didn't you already solve this challenge back in 1969 when you sent astronauts to the moon, and subsequently 5 other times after that?
But we're also really pushing the boundaries in terms of where we're going forward with exploration. I think humans are naturally driven to do this, and this is really the beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit. I certainly plan on being around to see that.
So she's a NASA astronaut, but I guess no one bothered to tell her about the first time that we left low Earth orbit. I guess she might be a little too young to remember. Here we have another astronaut that wasn't told about the moon landing 48 years ago.
The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and our electronic systems to withstand this radiation.
So that would mean that Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins and Buzz Aldrin were a tough bunch of SOBs able to withstand all that brutal radiation, considering these challenges are still yet to be solved. So how is it that we had the technology to achieve this amazing feat back in 1969, but we're still working on the technology in 2017, almost half a century later? Well, I managed to find a very clever and well-informed astronaut that will totally straighten things out for us and explain exactly why we're not able to return to the moon and break through those Van Allen radiation belts. Have a listen to this clever chap.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
This guy, oh boy. Here's a real-life example of what can happen to you when you're exposed to all of that outer space radiation. And if you're a child with aspirations of becoming an astronaut, being a very good liar might be a positive attribute to have on your resume. Now, just by showing you these admissions of guilt by NASA, I can easily end this video now, and I would have easily proven my point without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm sure that for some of you hardened skeptics out there, this damaging evidence is still not enough. So let's take this theory of mine to the next level. This here is the lunar module now proudly displayed at the National Air and Space Museum. According to NASA, the primary materials used to build the module were aluminium alloy, stainless steel, titanium, nickel steel alloy, heat-resistant glass. Now, if this is the case, we have a very serious discrepancy here. If you remember earlier when I went through the different atmospheres that surround the Earth, both the thermosphere and exosphere have temperatures ranging from 0 to 2000 degrees Celsius. So I decided to examine the melting points of the primary metals that we use to build the lunar module. First off, we have the aluminium alloy, which has a melting point of 463 degrees Celsius. Next we have stainless steel, which has a melting point of 1510 degrees Celsius. Then we also have nickel steel alloy, which melts at 1453 degrees Celsius, and of course the heat resistant glass for the windows, which has a melting point of 760 degrees Celsius. So this would mean that the lunar module, along with its occupants, would have disintegrated well before it even passed through the thermosphere, let alone surviving the Van Allen radiation belts in the exosphere. To protect the astronauts from the Van Allen radiation belts, the lunar module would have required 6 feet of lead shielding. But here's what they really had for protection.
Obviously, the only shielding they had was the literally paper-thin outer hull of aluminum, and their suits consisting of glass fiber, some aluminum fibers, and silicon rubber.
It's very interesting concerning radiation that the astronauts were protected by a thin film of aluminum, when here on Earth they put a lead shield on us when they take a dental x-ray.
In conclusion, when NASA themselves admit to never having left low Earth orbit, and the fact that we don't even have the materials that could withstand the extreme temperatures and cosmic rays in space, how on earth can anyone believe that we ever went to the moon?
This nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
So here we are, we're back. All right, kids, we're back with Dennis, and I wanted to share this film with you guys because I thought that it might be something that, you guys would like to hear about. I know, I'm not saying that it's true, and I'm not saying it's not true. I just believe in the common sense theory. You know, if you're telling me something, but I'm seeing something else, then something's wrong, you know. So I just wanted you guys to know, one of the things that I wanted to point out was that when they landed on the moon, there's, you know, fire at the bottom of that Apollo thing. I don't remember what it was called, but there's fire that helps it land. And there's nothing on the ground. You know, there was no fire, none of the dust was moved or anything. So anyway, dude, we'll have this clip up on YouTube pretty soon, probably in the next 2-3 weeks. So if you want to watch it again, please, you know, look us up on YouTube or through our website. And that's it. That's our show. That's our show for tonight. Dennis, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Next time you come in, I want you to come back. Next time you come in, please bring us some stuff that we can show the kids. And we're also going to have your website up so that people can know how to get a hold of you. I think we have your Facebook address or something like that.
Yeah, put my Facebook address
So,
in.
all
Once
right.
I get a studio going, then I'll have
Nice.
plenty of pieces for you.
All right, kids, have a good night, and we'll see you next week. We got Jackie Vinson.
Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
Here's your daddy.